What is up, my little Deinos? Vepsis, your coach of the Helsinki Hydreigons, and we are back for the APA Academy semi-finals battle versus PlatinumHowler and his team being the Delta Gligars. Make sure to check him out, his YouTube channel will be down below in the description. And we are going up against a tough opponent who has gone undefeated throughout the regular season and also up until at this point of playoffs along with it. So he has done very well for himself, and not sure how I'm feeling about the matchup in itself. I think my matchup was worse with my regular draft, and now that I have changed it, it might be slightly better. But going to this matchup, similar to last week, I will be completely honest, I haven't spent as much time to this prep. One, due to the fact, again, work has been something that keeps me occupied in a regular basis. And I have another draft league off screen that I've been doing, which also at this point today, when I played this one, I played a semi-finals for that. And I made to the finals over there. So to me, honestly, if I win this, it's great. But if I lose, well, then I don't have to deal with two finals in draft leagues on the same week alongside with my work. So either way, regards to this matchup, I'm okay. Whatever happens, hopefully it won't be a loss regards to RNC. That would be the one thing that I would like to hope to not to see. But same would be that I wouldn't want to hack my opponent either. But regards to the matchup, you can see about my face cam, and now let's go very briefly my team before I get connected with my opponent. And we are gonna be starting this one off with Scrafty, which is fully physically defensive, basically with Intimidate. And this is essentially a similar set what I used in a previous week on quarterfinals versus Grey. And we are running Drain Punch and Knock Off as our only attacking moves, and Rest and Sleep Talk. This is there to check the VY primary, but it's able to check some other things as well naturally. So Scrafty actually has a decent matchup to be a pivotal for this team, but primary it was necessary for the VY, which last time proved it to be a huge problem, because I only had Quillfish last time around to deal with that and the Mimikyu. And you're gonna be noticing that I have something else for Mimikyu instead to deal with it. And for Weavile, I have now Scrafty to deal with that. But the following member of the team, or the next member that we are gonna be going through, will be my G-Max Gengar with 4 attacks, modest nature, but quite a bit of bulk on it as well. I wanted to make this thing live a Konoko from non-boosted Weavile after Stealth Rocks. I will also live a Photo Geyser after Rocks if it's not boosted. From Necrozma, I can also live Adamant, Choice Carves and Headbutt from Galade after Stealth Rock. So I invested a lot on the bulk and still ensure that I can 2-hit KO or OKO things that I want. I can also live after Stealth Rocks a signature ground type move from his G-Max Sandakoda, including the recall as well. And when I go for the energy ball, and it's gonna be summoning the grassy terrain, that will keep my health a little bit higher than normally in that sense. So that's kind of the Gengar, nothing too special otherwise besides the bulk investment that I decided to put on it. Then we are bringing a Choice Banded Jolly Zeraora, even though I would not necessarily need a Jolly for this matchup, but I'm going with Jolly to try to see if I catch my opponent off guard regards to his aggressive speed creeps, because he could be trying to get a read off on me, like what is most likely speed creep I should be doing versus his team, and he might try to speed creep his own mons based on that. So ideally, if that would go in my way, I have still a mon that surprisingly enough would outspeed him in a scenarios that he would think that he can outspeed me. For example, his Choice Golfers or Necrozma being at +1 or anything like that. So that's what I decided to do. Choice Bandit still should ensure us the 2-hit KOs what I wanted, and I figured that if this is gonna be the last one that I'm getting to use Zeraora for this season, I wanted to go with Choice Bandit, because I thought that if I get rid of the Sandakoda, even then, if I don't get rid of it immediately, I have a one move that I feel like I can lock myself into throughout the matchup, and Revenge kills a lot. Revenge kill things a lot easier than I would be without that item boost. And then we are gonna be running a Crush Claw Shadowclaw Rest Talk type, no, another Rest Talk user on the team, but that's pretty typical of me. And this is the Mimikyu check. We are mostly physically defensive with little bit of Spedef bulk. and obviously holding the Eviolite. This is there to be able to soft check a lot of different things on his team. The one thing that you're gonna notice on my team and from my draft in general, I don't deal with Gallade well, so I want to bring a team that can live from it as often as possible, and this thing can also live a hit from it and do big damage back with Shadow Claw, especially if he relies on close combat as his fighting stab. And this thing can also take on the Torkoal if needed to, because we go for S-Talk. We can deal with a physical Necrozma relatively well. We can deal with the Venusaur, unless it's at +2, then it's gonna be hurting, but other than that we can deal with it. We can deal with Heliolisk. Viva doesn't necessarily do us too much damage until it knocks us off, but even then I think we can deal it relatively well. So Type Null should be able to do some work in this matchup for sure, and check something that is gonna be useful for my rest of the team. And then we are gonna be bringing 3 attacks Roost Hydreigon with a Chopo Berry holding on it, and that is their primary for the Gallade if and when I would expect it to show up, because my team, after I made the changes in our hindsight, was a huge mistake that I allowed it to be so fighting weak. So I expect him to bring that Gallade, so I wanted to have my Hydreigon holding the Chopo Berry. In an ideal scenario, when he drops his defense, I can nuke it back with Draco Meteor. For example, if he's Choice Scarf, he hits me first, drop his Speed F by 1 point, and then I can nuke it back with Draco Meteor, get rid of it that way. It's also a very nice check naturally to the Necrozma barring Axe Scissor or Dragon Pulse, but he would have to run that coverage and find a way to fulfill other necessary coverage that he would need as well along with that. So that's the Hydreigon, also pretty nice member for this team, and it's also able to outspeed the Mimikyu and be a Shadow Sneak resistance and hit it back with a Flash Cannon. And then we are bringing a more so specially defensive Bronzor with Psychic, Toxic, Stealth Rocks and Protect. The moveset is same as last week in our quarterfinals, but the spread is slightly different, what I figured that would be more useful. And we are also running Heat Proof this time around. This is also kind of like a semi-check to Torkoal, because I don't want necessarily my Hydreigon switching into it every single time, because last time he used Body Press versus me, and it did well for him, and I expect him to have it again if he brings it. So I rather have a Heat Proof Bronzor to soft check it down, give myself Stealth Rocks, and spread out some Toxic status on his team. So that's going to be the team of 6 that I'm bringing. Hopefully it kind of gives us the win, but like I've been mentioning at the beginning of the video, I'm not too upset if I lose it at this point. I'm already very happy what I've been able to accomplish in APA Academy. It would be nice to be able to win it all, but regardless of my next week, I would not be too upset if I have this out of my shoulders. But now, let's go and see how this battle is going to be turning out versus PlatinumHowler. Alright, here we are finally with the battle. It actually took like an hour or so before my opponent was ready. But it's okay, it's pretty late for me, so I try to keep my tone low so my neighbors won't be worried about it. It's actually midnight as I'm playing this on my time, but I'm okay with it. I agreed on it to play this late, and it's fine. Thankfully I don't have work tomorrow, and honestly at this point I just want to get this battle with. My prediction what he would be bringing, I think he will bring Weavile, Necrozma, he will bring Gallade, which he didn't bring last time, but I think fighting types are too strong versus me not to bring. And if I see it, I'm gonna lead with Hydreigon. I expect to see Torkoal, I expect to see Mimikyu, and then I could see something like... what would be the last thing? Heliolisk. Heliolisk he did bring last time as a choice sculptor, so maybe that would be his team, but let's see what he decides to do. He might be or I do expect him to be very surprised to not see Hydreigon, but to me, it was something that I decided to do, and okay. I don't see Gallade, that is actually really nice, but we see Wishy-Washy instead. And Weavile, Necrozma, Mimikyu, oh yeah, Sandaconda, obviously he will bring that CG Max. And then Heliolisk, no Torkoal either. Okay, so he didn't bring his Suncore. Regards to a lead, what do I like the most? I kinda like my Bronzor, because for Weavile I'll have an answer, for Heliolisk I don't mind if it leads versus me. Though I would have to worry about a Dark Pulse. Versus well, Mimikyu would be annoying if he would lead that. Let's see. Because I anticipated myself to see Gallade, so I thought always Hydreigon would be my lead. But maybe I stick with the Bronzong this time around. Similar to last week, which might be kind of predictable, but I didn't anticipate him not to bring a lead, if I'm being perfectly honest. So I'm gonna be leading with my Bronzong to have a decent matchup versus his Wishy-Washy, because that's my most specially defensive wall, and I don't want my Hydreigon necessarily take a damage from it. The Chopo Berry won't come into play too much unless his Weavile goes for a low kick versus a Hydreigon and predicting my Scrafty. But other than that, it might not come into play. So it's unfortunate that I have a berry that was for something that he didn't bring. But let's see, he leaks with the Snack Collar, which is his Sandakoda. So okay, he doesn't know yet that I'm Levitate. I feel like that would be his initial expectations that I would be that. So I kinda like getting either my rocks up early on. Let me see, what was his removal? Did he even bring any? He didn't bring any removal, so rocks would be kinda nice to get ASAP. So I could do that, or go for Toxic. I think I go for the rocks, not reveal my Toxic, cause this thing could also have Shed Skin. So he does swap out, again, expecting me to be the... Okay, he does have Air Balloon, so this is something he did last time versus a team that he found himself weak to. Mamoswine on prep, and I understand his thought progress there, and it worked out for him last time, but now that I didn't bring it, him having Air Balloon didn't really matter too much. But I got my rocks up, which is nice. And at this point, I could just go for a Toxic and just start wearing this thing down, and that's what I'm gonna be doing. And we do outspeed it, which is nice. So we get up a Toxic and get this thing on a timer, which is really nice. And now let's see what he does go for. He could go for Skull, for example. Yeah, there's the Skull, which is fine, because we are special attacker. It does do a good amount of damage to me, which is a little bit annoying, but that should be okay. But now we are able to rack up some damage on him from there. And now I probably just go for the Protect. Reveal, that being one of my remaining two moves that he hasn't seen yet, but that's fine. And we are able to wear down the Wishy-Washy, and to be honest, this is like my best play versus this thing, to try to get it low and get its ability deactivated to get it back self into the very minor fish form when it doesn't have any kind of stats. But right now it's still a threat, and I have to utilize my Bronzong this way. I might swap into my Hydreigon next, because it has Roost as well, if necessary. And I can take this Ice Beam just fine. I might want to preserve this for his Necrozma to be able to get off the Toxic. So that might be something that I'm gonna be doing right now, just to go into my Hydra and see how he responds to that. And go from there. If he goes for U-turn or Ice Beam, good play by him. But I should be okay, and Hydreigon shouldn't have to worry about the burn too much either, because again we are special attacking Hydreigon as mostly expected. But now he does go for the Skull, revealing that he does want to prioritize the damage to get onto the Bronzong. But that's okay by me. And at this point I think Dark Pulse is just free, so I'm just gonna go for that and not think about it too much. I could go for the Draco, but I don't want to keep Mimikyu switching or allow Necrozma to do any mean things to me. So this is what I'm gonna be doing. If he does go for the Ice Beam, I can recover that one off on the following turn. And then he should be in the minor fish form, and then we are essentially being able to deal with this Wishy-Washy as it is, which is pretty nice. And he does withdraw. Who does he withdraw into? That is the Heliolisk. Okay, he does go into the Heliolisk, which is fine by me. We get some damage off on you, which is nice. And that should be doing... That might be AV Heliolisk based on that damage that he did, so... Interesting. Would I want to stay in or not? Focus Blast could hurt, but I have to Chopo Berry for that. He could also pack Dragon Pulse, for all I know. I could try to preserve this, but I don't want to let my type Null necessarily take a hit, or my Scrafty. Bronzong I mentioned already, I kinda want it for that, so maybe I should just stay in and go for the Dark Pulse yet again and see what his coverage is to hit me. Because he could have both. Okay, he's slower than me, so maybe he's spec crit me improperly. I do get a crit, which is huge. Do I get a flinch as well? No, I do not, but he is slower than me. which is interesting. Maybe that's something that he, on his prep, in a hindsight, he got wrong. Because I'm running a little bit more speed than he might be expecting for a very aggressive speed creep. I did mention this on a Zeraora, but I did the similar thing to my Hydreigon, and I know that my Hydreigon and Gengar do share the exact same speed as well, which is really huge right now. So essentially his aggressive speed creep might bite him in the ass already, so I like that, and that promises me greatly for my Zeraora mindset working as well in the later portion of the battle. But let's see what he does now. We get rid of the Heliolisk, which is nice, which is his ghost immunity, and now he has only the Weavile as a ghost resist to my G-Max Gengar once I pull the trigger with that. So we are in a decent spot for sure. I am a little bit worried about Hydreigon being so low if I need it for a +2 Shadow Sneak resistance, but we should be still okay thus far, and I should not leave myself too vulnerable right now which position I'm at. And he does bring the Weavile. Let's see if you're Boots or not. You're not Boots. Okay, that's nice to see. And now that he didn't bring his Torkoal, he doesn't have any remover on this team. And I'm gonna be just hard swapping into my Scrafty. I'm not gonna worry about this too much. He might see this coming, but I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna mess around this at first, and I wanna see how he would aggressively approach versus the Scrafty if he would pull the double, but it looks like he stays in. At this point we get an Intimidate off from him. He might go for the low kick because he covers the both of the mons, and he does make that play, but we take that just fine. Just fine. Beautiful, and that is a life for Weavile and didn't do almost any kind of damage to us, so that's pretty nice. Okay, so what is my best play right here? He could see, or I could see him sacking the Wishy-Washy at this point, or he could make an aggressive play into the Mimikyu. So I think I'm gonna be going for the knockoff, because if he makes an aggressive swap into Mimikyu, I get rid of his potential boosting item, or he does go into the Wishy-Washy, which is fine by me, because I think I'm definitely do outspeed this thing, so I assume I get still a Drain Punch off on this after it will live this hit, which will be nice for me. And we go for the knockoff, and we do some decent amount of damage at that point. But now on a following turn I can go for the Drain Punch. If he now swaps into the Mimikyu, that would be an interesting play, but I still have Mimikyu at full, so I might feel still okay with letting this all happen as it is. Even if he sacks this, or if he decides to now hard swap into it and preserve this as a sack and try to position himself properly. But let's see what he does. I do go for the Drain Punch. He could see that, okay, he doesn't react to it, so he wants to let this thing go down and get free switching to something else, which is fine by me. And we get some HP, and we should be almost back to full after the leftovers recovery. So Scrafty is doing its job quite well as it is, and still be able to check that. Yeah, we are back at full. So essentially the damage that Weavile was able to take due to us is now nullified completely with the ulti passive recovery that I was able to gain back through lefties and through the Drain Punch. So that's pretty nice for us. We are up to 6-4, but he still has some demons in the back. He has his G-Max Anaconda, he has the Necrozma in the back, Weavile is still in there, and Mimikyu is in there. So all of them are still threats, and here's the Mimikyu. Okay, so now we hard swap immediately to type null. That is our primary answer to this thing, and I'm not gonna think about this at all. We have Shadow Claw just to be able to actually hit it, and if he doesn't have Drain Punch or Life Orb on it, we can actually 1v1 it quite nicely from here and leave it in a range that I think Zeraora should be able to pick it off. And I don't think I will be allowing him to get too many turns of setup where Shadow Sneak all of a sudden will pick my Zeraora off as well. So he does go for the player off straight up. He doesn't try to predict anything, and he reveals to be Life Orb, so that's okay by me. I'll go for the Shadow Claw off the chance he thinks that I'm gonna be going for slow U-turn or any kind of the shenanigans. And again, I don't think he doesn't have a ghost immunity anymore because the Heliolisk is gone, and the Weavile has to take Stealth Rocks plus this damage, and I have this Scrafty in the back, so I don't think I have to worry about too much of clicking this move with my Shadow Claw. I will be able to break its disguise. It's gonna take the 8 of its max HP as well. He does go for the player off again, which is fine. We still take it quite well. This seems to be that he doesn't have the Drain Punch anymore like he did last time as a coverage move. And there we go. We got that one off. And that is pretty nice for us. And at this point I still go for the Shadow Claw. While it would be nice to get a rest off, I don't want to be putting myself into Sleep Talk turns where 60% of chance or 66% of chance of the move that I would get would allow Mimikyu to do anything that it wants. So it's as of right now, when the Mimikyu is standing in front of me, I don't think I should be doing anything else than just Shadow Clawing it down. Because last time it proved to be a lot bigger of a threat than at first glance I thought that it would be versus my team. But it also partially was because how poorly I played versus him last time. And at this point, without getting ahead of myself, I'm feeling a lot better how I'm dealing with his team. So he does go into his Sandaconda, which is actually somewhat fine to me. He might be using this turn to get up his rocks, but this is also an opportunity for me to gain myself back to full health. So I think I'll go for that and allow him to get up rocks so I get myself back to full, which means that I'm gonna be able to kind of 1v1 this thing as well. Because I'm pretty sure with the G-Max moves that he would go for, because I'm Impulse Nature, Max HP, and quite a lot of physical defense investment, I think Sandaconda should not be able to 2-hit KO me unless it starts coiling up. That would be one way of how he could do that, but I have special attackers that are faster than it to be able to nuke it with my Hydreigon, with Draco Meteor or Dark Pulse if I play safe. Gengar has Energy Ball and the G-Max move along with it, and he does go for the G-Max immediately. I want to say I take this hit and I'm able to go for the rest and already burn out one of his G-Max moves, and I'm curious to see what he does go for first. As his attacking move, does he predict my crown immunities in the back? Well, Hydreigon being one of them, but he doesn't know my Bronzong's ability and he won't know about it until I have to reveal it. He does go for the Max Flare, try to predict the Bronzong, but that won't be the case this time around. I will be able to go for the rest right here, and I'm able to wall this completely beautiful Type Null. You're able to eat that hit up like a champion, man. Type Hero is living up to its name. It's a very cringy name, I know, but this thing has been so clutch to me in the past AP Academy season when it was half U-Burst League somewhat. It did so well for me, and I think at this point I'm safe to just Sleep Talk and not allow anything else take this damage. And if he decides to swap out, he essentially just wasted his turn of G-Maxing. But let's see how much this does. I haven't actually now calced in my head how much it does. It does a decent amount of damage, and there's going to be residual damage to me, so I might want to swap out eventually on this turn. But I will be able to pull off a rest, so that didn't work out for us. So in that turn he was able to get a little bit out of the turn, and this might be a turn that I might prefer. Actually, it is a Sand Tomb, so I think I'm trapped. So that might be a hindsight that maybe this doesn't work out too well for me at this rate. But let's see. He does go for the that move again, which is going to do decent damage. This is going to be second turn of the Sleep Talk. And after this, we get a rest off yet again. So we don't get that lucky with these at this point, and he might be able to kill us after this, which is unfortunate because now the Mimikyu is actually a bigger of a threat. So maybe in a hindsight I should have swapped into Hydreigon, if I'm being completely honest. I'm gonna check once more if I can swap out or not, that I'm not overthinking this. Yeah, I cannot be swap out, so this is an oversight yet again. I didn't think about this scenario happening this way well enough, but let's see. Earthquake I would assume kills me, and it does kill me, so that's unfortunate. So the Mimikyu is still somewhat a problem, but I have things that can outspeed it, and maybe at this point it's better for me to go into my own G-Max Gengar, because I'm pretty sure I should be able to kill it at this rate, if I'm looking this right. Let me see. Sandaconda, max HP versus my Gengar at Dynamaxing, and he's gonna be level 50. I will do 110% to him, so I kinda like that. And I will go into my G-Max Gengar and start punishing him back with this guy. So the one unfortunate part is that, well, it's a Sand Tomb, so it actually is not the residual damage, so I should be okay, and we are able to eliminate this Sandaconda. Now the Mimikyu is an issue to my team, And I do have regrets about what I did with the type. No, I should have swapped into my Bronzong at that turn in Overside. That should have been my play. Now I regret it quite a bit. But I still have offensive ways of checking it. And the Necrozma will be in the back, the Weavile is in the back, and the Mimikyu is in the back. So I think Zeraora actually at this point, if I get rid of this Sandaconda, as I'm able to, Bandit Plasma Fist will murder his team quite nicely, because the Mimikyu's disguise is already taken care of. The only thing that can realistically take the hits would be the Necrozma, and once that thing is weakened down, Zeraora might be able to clean this game up. So maybe we are still in a very... I would like to think, to be honest, that I'm still in a good spot, but I'm just upset that I didn't play this scenario perfectly versus his own G-Max as I should have had. But this should be the end of the Sandaconda as it is, and we get that one up, and we get some little bit of recovery potentially for ourselves if we have to tank a hit. And I did design this thing to live a hit from Weavile after Rocks if it wasn't a boosting item. So now I have to check if he is life for Weavile with Knockoff. How much would he be doing to me? And let's see how much Gengar. Okay, he would be doing quite a bit to me with Knockoff, and there it is. So I have to preserve this Gengar. And there's no point of me try to let it go on this turn. So I will be just swapping into my Scrafty. It's kind of annoying that I had to use it this way, just to ensure the kill on this Sandaconda. But it should be okay, at least after the Knockoff, as he would go for it, it's water resistant and I get the recovery back. So we should be okay in that regard. And let's see what he does. I have to watch out for the Mimikyu getting out of hand. That's one thing that I do have to worry about. But I still have Zeraora at full. I still have the Hydreigon that can resist the Shadow Sneak. And I still have Gengar at full. So unless he gets a +2 or further, it shouldn't be a problem. But let's see. We do swap out. Unfortunately, it would be only one turn of G-Max. So essentially I used my G-Max form as it was a C move back in the Generation 7, but that was somewhat expected once the Weavile came in and it reveals to be Life Orb. That's just, I don't have another play versus it. And he's able to gain a little bit of back, so he is outside of range the Stealth Rocks. But at this point I still wanna go for the Knockoff and punish the Mimikyu if it's going to ever dare to swap in, and I do go for the Knockoff. Let's see if he does make the aggressive play. He does not. He does go into the Necrozma. What do you have as your item? What am I getting rid of? If it's Culpa Berry? It is a Culpa Berry. Okay, so that is your item of choice. And that should be okay for me. And let's see. He does manage to gain obviously the recovery back. So how do I want to respond to this? I could hard swamp into my Gengar or to my Bronzong. I think my Bronzong is always the best play unless it's Sub. I'm not necessarily sure what he would go for. I could hard swap into my Gengar, make sure that he cannot start setting up too far, and I can leave it to the point that my Zeraora can sweep him. So hopefully he doesn't click the Psychic type move in front of a Scrafty. I would like to think he doesn't do that. Let's see what he does. He does go for the Sword Dance. Okay, that's good that I got this thing in early on, so he doesn't get an opportunity potentially get out of myself, which is really, really nice. Okay, that is good. Let's go for the Shadow Ball. Get a good amount of damage to him. If he picks me up, so be it. That should be okay by me. We are Modest Nature, we are not max special attack, but we should do a good amount of damage as we do. And he does go for the Photo Geyser here. And now Zeraora might be in a position to just able to sweep this game through at this point. He does pick my Gengar off, but that is expected. But now I can go into my Zeraora, and we are choice banded on that Zeraora. There is no way, even if I'm Jolly Nature this time around, there's no way you're taking this. I refuse to believe that you are tanking this hit, or any of your remaining of the members on your team. So we are going to Zeraora, click the choice banded Plasma Fist, and hopefully this will be the end for this battle after 3 turns. That's what I'm banking on right now. That's how I wanted to approach of hard swapping into Gengar, that I get this thing low, and now I don't give Mimikyu opportunity to get out of hand and do more damage to me than it should be. Viva cannot outspeed me, I assure that for sure, with Jolly Nature, with the speed creep that I have. And I don't think with combined priorities of Life Orb Ice Shot into Life Orb Shadow Sneak should be able to do anything to me. So ideally, this should be the game. We might be able to do something that no one else throughout this regular season or in playoff run has been able to do, myself included. We might be able to defeat the undefeated team here on semifinals, except before I get ahead of myself, he did have Fake Out on it. Okay. So he might be able to get out now a Ice Shot and into Shadow Sneak. Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. There might be something he can still do. But that should be end of that. And I want to think that we are still outside of range of the Shadow Sneak with the bulk that we still have left. I have a good amount of HP investment on it, but okay, he had the Fake Out on it, interesting. So he had a double priority and now into priority of a Shadow Sneak from Mimikyu. But even then, I have the Hydreigon in the back, so I still have a Shadow Sneak resist if something goes wrong. But let's go Zeraora. Let's finish this game off. He does go for the Shadow Sneak. Live the Zeraora. There we go. That is going to be it. Your Helsinki Hydreigons are, after all, moving into the finals of the APA Academy. Good game, great game to PlatinumHowler. He had a fantastic season. And I do want to apologize if I seemed early on the battle, like the team builder, like I wasn't really invested on it. But I was still stating to the truth of the fact that I didn't really spend as much time to these playoff matches thus far. But I feel like they were solid teams, and once the battle starts, once that chess timer ticks down, I cannot help myself that I still have the competitive edge to try to win these games. And hopefully it still shows that I really try through my thought progress to trying to think of an angle to find a way to win. And we were able to do that versus PlatinumHowler. So good game to him. Make sure to check his channel out. His YouTube link will be down below in the description. And we are going to be going up against either Shuckleking or Zombie into the finals. Let's see which one of them we get to go up against. Make sure to check their YouTube channels out if you're curious to see their battle for the semifinals of the other perspective. And until the finals, I'm gonna be seeing you guys later.